So this evening, I keep hitting, it's probably because we're looking at Psalms, I keep hitting things with Psalms. So I'm starting off with Psalms. Psalm 76, in my Bible, this was labeled the majesty of God in judgment. And I want to look at Psalm 76 if you want to follow along. It's just a couple of verses here. You yourself, and the author is speaking of God, you yourself are to be feared. And who may stand in your presence when once you are angry? You caused judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still. When God arose to judgment to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Selah. I don't always say that because I don't have a good, feel for it. But anyway, looking at verse 9, notice that God delivers the oppressed. And I was thinking of this as I was looking at different things we've been looking at. Do we feel oppressed? Do we feel overwhelmed sometimes in our lives? Do we maybe feel discouraged with the things we see in the world by, the misuse of things, the misuse of the rainbow, the immoral things we see going on in the world? Do these things discourage us? Sometimes maybe we feel like we're not seeing God's justice come like we would want it, right? We think that this is wrong and we want to see, God's justice. And I'm specifically saying like we would want, because God has his time and that's what we'll wait for. But, like Lot, are we distressed and kind of tormented by the things we see in the world? Does that bother us and affect us? I feel like it does a lot of times affect me. If we look at the first part of 2 Peter chapter 2, Peter is talking about God's deliverance of the righteous and his punishment of the unjust or ungodly. If we look at verses 7 and 8, I'm kind of stealing just a portion of this overall thought, but I think you'll recognize this. And delivered righteous Lot, who was oppressed by the filthy conduct of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them tormented his righteous soul from day to day, seeing and hearing their lawless deeds. And sometimes I believe we feel that way. Not that we're puffing ourselves up and saying we're perfect or wonderful, but we see these things going on and it bothers us. It bothers our hearts, right? So I was just thinking, has this sinful world, is it getting us down? Are we, feeling maybe hopeless, maybe a little depressed? Are our hearts weary and heavy from the things we see going on? Maybe people are against us sometimes because we believe in Jesus, and sometimes maybe they're just against us. That happens. Sometimes somebody just doesn't like you for whatever reason. That can happen. But so I'm thinking in those things, I wanted to remind us all of what Peter says in the very next verse, 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. He says, "Then the Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust under punishment for the day of judgment." So I wanted to remind us not to worry and not to give up. I know when we look at the world and things going on in the world right now, it looks depressing at times, right? But remember that God sent Jesus. He sent his son to give us salvation. He's not forgotten us, and he will deliver us. Even from the evil we see in the world today, he will. And it's just as God promised to Israel in Isaiah chapter 41. Now, this is a promise that now includes us as his children. If you look in Isaiah chapter 41, and just remember that God, we're a part of his family, and he is the most faithful father. He is the Father, okay? And he says this in verses 9 through 13, "You whom I have taken from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest regions and said to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and have not cast you away. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Behold, all those who were incensed against you shall be ashamed and disgraced. They shall be as nothing, and those who strive with you shall perish. You shall seek them and not find them. Those who contended with you, those who war against you, shall be as nothing, as a non-existent thing. For I, the Lord your God, will hold your right hand, saying to you, fear not, I will help you. So when all this world seems to be against us or against you, if you're thinking of you in your personal life, remember God's promise to you here. He will deliver you. He will always be there for you and with you. I just wanted to make sure we were all reminded of that and aware of that. We're going to sing number 276, There is Power in the Blood. We're going to sing that. And there is power in the blood. There's power in the blood to deliver you, to free you. And if anyone would have any need, won't you please come forward as we stand and sing.